Hello Maya Nation, and welcome back to my channel. You might notice I look a little different today, and that's because I decided to bring you a little realness. I've put on some minimal makeup, not even wearing a bra. Didn't really do much to my hair except get out of the shower and kind of detangle it. And this video might be a little rambling, so forgive me. I'll try to make as few edits as possible, just so you can see everything that's going on in my head right now. I'm going through some kind of tough times, I guess you could say. You know, just like any one of you, I do suffer from depression, and right now it's kind of caught up to me with a lot of the things that's happened to me in the last year and, last few weeks particularly. And, I've decided to engage in a little self-care, and that has meant going back to therapy. I hadn't gone to therapy in a while because I was unemployed and I didn't have insurance and I just couldn't afford it. But I've been employed for pretty much this entire year and had insurance since about April, so I really don't have any excuse not to go back to therapy. So I made an appointment yesterday to go back on Friday to talk about things because things are really weighing me down. And I wanted you guys to see that happens to me just like it happens to you. I think as a YouTuber, sometimes people can kind of put me up on a pedestal as some sort of, hashtag goals kind of thing. And the thing is, we have feet of clay just like anybody else. And sometimes we need a little helping hand too. And luckily I have a lot of great friends to help me along the way. But for right now, I also need, I think, a little professional help. It's very hard for me to escape feeling like a failure. And I know that might be surprising to some of you maybe, but there are a lot of things going on that sometimes just don't work out for me. And I'm very, very hard on myself. I expect probably an unrealistic level of success. And when I don't achieve perfection, to be honest, I can sometimes feel like worthless. I guess there's no better way of saying it, just worthless. And I know it's the depression talking, it's the chemical imbalance in my brain, it's a lot of things. Because perhaps objectively I've achieved a lot, but at the same time I compare myself to other folks, which I know I should not do. That's like awful. Never do that. But I can't help it. And I'm not where I want to be yet. I'm not where I want to be in life. I'm not where I want to be professionally. I'm certainly not where I want to be personally. And my self-esteem takes a beating. If anything, I think to be transgender is to have pretty extreme self-esteem issues. I think we can all agree with that. And it started from an early age, when I started noticing girls at like 11, 12, 13, and I wasn't one of them. When I looked in a mirror and I started seeing hair sprouting in places where I didn't want it to be, and just all these changes happening in my body that I didn't want to happen, and at the same time just so badly wanted to be one of the girls, and then feeling so ashamed of that. It made me feel ugly inside, and it didn't help that for some reason girls didn't seem to respond to me either, and I internalized that as that they thought I was unattractive, which only made my self-esteem worse. And I think that's one of the reasons why my adolescence was just so screwed up. I went through all of junior high and high school without kissing a girl, and actually most of college too. And without dating a girl even. I didn't go on my first date till I was 21. And part of that was just the shame I had built up inside, and the feeling that I just was not worthy of love, maybe, that there was something sick about me that needed to be, eradicated, that needed to be banished, and I could not do it, and I didn't have any clue on how to do it. So I just carried this feeling inside for all those years, and it just made me feel worse and worse about myself, And it manifested itself in all sorts of ways. Sort of OCD behaviors that I had. It also manifested itself in just this feeling that, just overeating, just eating my feelings. And my weight has always kind of gone up and down my entire life. And I remember thinking to myself at one point, I remember in my early teenage years, that if I could just lose weight and wouldn't be such a fatty, that the girls would like me. And I lost a ton of weight. I was actually on the cross-country team in high school. And guess what? Still no girlfriends and still no response from girls, at least none that I knew. And that only made me feel worse, because it made me realize that it wasn't my weight that was the issue. And, even now, recently I've gained some weight, and it's made me feel really, really bad about myself, and just like unworthy of finding anybody that's going to care about me. That's really hard to say, but it's true. That was only compounded even more when I got to when I got to college. Because when I started 21, I started developing a skin condition called vitiligo, which is the thing that Michael Jackson claimed to have, which he may have had, but it doesn't usually look the way he made it look. He probably bleached his skin or did something if he really had the disease. But it's really hard to look my video sometimes because I can see it. And in fact, one of the things I did in this video today is I intentionally didn't cover it. A lot of times I do cover it, and if you look closely, you might see it here, like on my upper lip, over here on the sides of my mouth. I have it around my eyes a little bit. And of course, I think probably the most obvious place is on my hands. Any long-term viewers have probably noticed that on my hands I have these differences in shades. And, I actually have it on my elbows and everywhere in my body, really, all over my legs. And even my vajayjay, believe it or not, is multicolored. And it's sometimes really, really difficult to look in a mirror, When I was 21 and this was happening myself, it really, really got me down. And it really made me feel worthless. It was like it wasn't bad enough. I had these strange feelings I couldn't account for and these weight issues, but then I had this on top of it. And I felt like that would just make me that much more unlovable. It was actually only recently, after I made the video with Ariel last year, where there were a lot of comments about my skin, actually in that video. And a lot of people, actually mentioning that, yeah, it's vitiligo. And I was actually pretty shocked by the amount of people who said they liked it. They liked the way it looked. I always thought of it as something very, very, very unattractive, something I had to cover. And all of a sudden, here was all these people saying that they really liked it. And it really, really confused me. I've even had friends suggest that I shouldn't even cover it, that it makes me look more interesting. And that's the thing about being transgender, isn't it? We don't want to be different. We want to be just like everybody else, I think there are a lot of times I've had people tell me, oh, my self-esteem issues. A lot of girls have self-esteem issues. A lot of cisgender women say that to me. And a lot of times I feel very, very insulted by that. And I don't think they understand that they're not actually making me feel better. I know it's coming from a place of love, that they're trying to say that, you're just like every other girl. But it can sometimes feel like I'm being, that my concerns, that my differences are being diminished, that they're not being recognized for what they are. It's, I don't know, it's almost like if a guy were to walk up to a girl and say, yeah, I know what a period feels like because I've had cramps, Even if it was in sympathy, the girl would probably roll her eyes and go, you have no idea what you're talking about. Or childbirth, the pain of childbirth. So being transgender is unique, and it has a plethora of issues. And in my own life, it's, been compounded by these attendant issues. And I think that I don't feel acknowledged sometimes when cisgender women tell me things like that. You know, recently, I don't know if you can see, I usually cover it, but I have a giant white spot here. And every year, that's the thing about this condition, every year, it doesn't stay stagnant. It gets bigger and bigger. Sometimes it goes away. Like I used to have a big one over here and other places. Actually, used to be much worse around my mouth even. And then sometimes it then fills in, and all of a sudden you feel like, oh wow, maybe this is under control. And then all of a sudden this happens and it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And all I can do is look in the mirror and watch it get worse and worse and worse and more noticeable. And get comments on my videos from people. I literally had somebody this week on one of my videos comment, "What's wrong with your skin?" Which I thought was a kind of rude and inappropriate way of asking me something. I actually replied, "Nothing, it works fine." And that's true. It's really just mostly a cosmetic issue. It's not something that I really need to be concerned about in terms of my health, except for sun exposure. And when people say something like that, it just feels like, I don't know, it feels like a little stab in the heart, a little more, a little more to carry, a little more burden to carry, and another knock to my self-esteem, It was hard enough growing up and looking in the mirror, and I do think a lot of women have self-esteem issues, and I think that it is compounded by regular, female self-esteem issues. I think transgender women, just like any other woman, try to reach an ideal that is that much harder for us as trans women to reach. But it's even worse when you look in the mirror and you see a person growing a beard and with a masculine jawline or a masculine forehead or receding hairline, and you can't do anything about it. And it just feels like it's digging you into a hole, or it's pushing you further and further and further away from where you want to be, and makes you feel hopeless. And I get stuck in that little hopeless spiral a lot of times, a lot more than you guys realize, I try to keep it off my social media as much as possible. Every once in a while it leaks out, I put it on, my personal Facebook and things. I try to keep it away from my public social media as much as possible. But every once in a while, it is out there, and it is a cry for help. But in any case, I just wanted you guys to hear that from me, that I feel just like you guys a lot of times. It's just that I have now a bigger audience in which to do it in front of. And a lot of times I feel obligated to give you guys the sunny side of life, because there's enough places to go to on YouTube to get depressed. But I don't know, just this week I thought I would peel back the covers a little bit, let you see a little bit of what's going on inside my heart and what's going on right now in my life. Right now I'm feeling pretty burnt out, to be honest. Really, really burnt out. And I've even thought of just, I don't know, stopping my channel. But every time I get a message from you guys telling me that I helped you, it makes me feel that much more motivated and inspired to keep going. So thank you for that. You guys, you don't know how much you mean to me, how much you mean to my spirit, and how much I love you guys, because you love me back. And a lot of times I don't feel very loved. I feel very alone. Sometimes I feel very abandoned. And, it can be very strange to talk into a camera in a room by myself and put my feelings out there to all you guys and wonder if anybody's going to even hear it. And whenever you guys talk back to me, it just makes me realize that, I'm doing something that perhaps can help other people. And it's the reason I haven't stopped making my channels, and why I'm not going to stop doing my channels, even though like I said, I have considered it. These new YouTube rules and regulations and monetizations and stuff like that, they have impacted my channel pretty badly, and I'm not seeing the same kind of views and subscriber numbers I used to see, 6 months ago. But there's still a significant number of people out there watching, and so as long as you guys keep watching, I'll keep making them, I guess is the best way to put it. Hopefully after my session on Friday, I'll feel better and feel a little rejuvenated, and reapply myself to all the things I'm doing, my singing and the YouTube channel, my writing, and other things like that, the things that bring me hope and life outside of my 9-to-5 muggle job that can sometimes be, a little dispiriting. But perhaps not, maybe next week I won't make a video. I don't know. I may need to take a break, if only for a week. So we'll see. Tune in next Sunday and see if there's a video. If not, don't be alarmed. There will be another one. In fact, I can guarantee the week after that there will be. In fact, I've for those of you who follow me on Twitter and my Facebook page, and I will put the links to both down below. You'll notice that I've mentioned that I made a 10-minute film called Transgender Whiplash. And I got hired a crew, and I did some real acting, and we had some real actors on there as well besides myself. And I made this little film that I'm really proud of. That I submitted to Bufferfest, but they didn't accept it. But it will have more life. I will put it on my channel in 2 weeks. So watch for that on October 8th. October 8th is when I'll put it on my YouTube channel, and hopefully you guys will like it. And I'm also gonna submit it to other film fests, and hopefully it'll get accepted there. And if you live here locally in Orlando, keep a lookout on my social media, because I am going to premiere it here. And all of you are welcome. So, even if you don't live in Orlando, if you want to make a special trip to see a little 10-minute movie of mine, please do. And you may get a chance to say hello to me. In fact, I can guarantee if you come to see my film, travel from wherever you are to see it, I will make the time to say hello to all of you and show you how much I appreciate that. So that's all I had to say for tonight. I just, it's actually really late. It's like 1:30 in the morning. I'm gonna brush my teeth right after this and go to sleep. I gotta work tomorrow. But I just wanted to share with you what's in my heart, and I hope you guys found it worthwhile and maybe even a little inspiring, that that we share a lot of the same feelings, that if you're in a dark place right now, so am I, and I go there sometimes, but I also know that if I hold on, things will brighten up eventually. So on that note, like, share, and subscribe, and see you around the interwebs.